Kansas City touchdown. 97 yards.
3 friends were found dead in his backyard after the Kansas City Chargers game.
A family member of one of the victims isn't buying the story they're hearing.
The mystery is deepening around these 3 men found dead in their friend's backyard 2 days after they went to his home to watch the Kansas City Chiefs game.
Freak accident.
Or foul play.
Hello and welcome back to today's episode of True Crime Producer. I'm your host, Chantal, and joining us today, once again, we have...
I'm Cal.
Cal, he's back. Okay, so today we are talking about a pretty wild story. Yeah, really insane. You might have heard of it. It's very recent. It's different from the stories we've been covering lately. So on January 7th, 3 men in their mid to late 30s went to a watch party to see the Kansas City Chiefs game. And 2 days later, all 3 of them were found frozen to death in one of their friends' backyard. So right off the bat, tragic story, obviously. Unusual circumstances, but it's not that, out of the ordinary for people that live in really freezing cold climates to freeze to death sometimes, right?
Yeah. I mean, this was kind of in the suburbs. It's a little strange.
Yeah. Definitely. I mean, especially if they've grown up in the area and know how to live in cold weather. However, it gets weird. So the reason the story is so insane is because one of the friends whose house it was at, was unaware his friends were dead right outside for 2 full days. During this time, he claims to have been sleeping for extended periods of time. He also claimed to have been working. He was working from home, yet had no idea that right outside in his own backyard, his 3 friends were frozen to death. 2 of whom were apparently sitting in their lawn chairs. Again, dead. What do you make of that?
Well, this is one of those where nothing makes sense.
Yeah.
Actually, none of it makes any sense. We have 3 grown men sitting outside in a backyard on a porch, freezing.
Yeah. How does that even happen? I mean...
Why didn't they go inside?
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. And I keep trying... As I was reading this story, I kept trying to think about, what kind of substances I've heard of that would make me, first of all, completely unaware of the fact that I'm dying, Right. And then incapable of standing up and walking outside. I wonder how long it takes to freeze to death. Let's see. How long to freeze?
They're also mixing it with alcohol.
Yeah.
There's a full range of things you can mix with alcohol that would make you unaware, dizzy, confused.
Okay, so it says that death can occur in under an hour in extremely cold conditions. However, the fact that 2 of them were found just sitting in a lawn chair shows that they're not even trying to get out of the cold. These are grown men. We'll show you photos of them. If they were trapped outside, they could have broken down a door. They could have broken a window. They could have gone to their neighbor's house and banged on the door and been like, let me in. I'm literally freezing to death out here.
Right, and they're in a neighborhood.
They're in a neighborhood.
This is their homes.
Yeah, they could have been yelling for sure. And there's no real talk of drugs being involved. No one's copped to any drugs being involved at all. They said, we know that there were some drinks that were shared at the watch party, but that's it. So the fact that, A, they're freezing to death outside. Again, 3 grown men are freezing to death outside. And B, the friend whose house it was completely unaware that his friends were dying / had been dead right outside for several days.
Yes, days.
Yeah, is insane. And also, how do you sleep for 48 hours? I'm sorry.
Right.
I don't care how hungover I am. 48 hours? I might be in and out of sleep, but I know he was he said he was sleeping for long chunks of time and working when he was working from home. But surely he's checking his phone, right? And the family members of the 3 deceased men had been texting him and trying to reach him to say, hey, where is so-and-so? Where's my brother? Where's my fiance? In one circumstance. And the fact that he didn't get back to them.
Right.
And I read one report that said that they even went to his house and he never answered the door because he was asleep and he had his headphones on. What?
Right.
Does that sound wild to you?
Yeah. I mean, you have 4 people, 3 are dead, and 1 with 0 explanation for anything, including his own situation, being inside for days.
And not checking your phone?
Right. So you have a person who's mysteriously alive in circumstances where 3 other people are dead, and no explanation. I mean, so you have one person that knows something. Yeah. It's not accusing him of foul play.
Yeah.
But there's obviously something he knows that he does not want to share.
For sure. I mean, obviously everything that we are saying now is speculation. We don't know.
Right.
And the police department in this area has made it very clear that they have not arrested him. They are not accusing him of foul play. They're not investigating it as a homicide.
Right. They don't suspect foul play at all.
Yeah. Just taking into account all the circumstances that had happened, you would think even like a quick preliminary investigation would be necessary.
Clearly something was holding those 3 men back from going inside or getting help or whatever they needed.
We're not the only ones that find it suspicious, actually.
No, I'm not.
Their family members have also come out and said they think it's extremely strange.
Yeah.
The mother, one of them in particular, has kind of been making a bit of a splash because she said that she thinks the man whose house it was, the man who's alive, his name is Jordan Willis, she thinks that he concocted something. And that's because he's a scientist. I believe he's an AIDS researcher, is what we were told. HIV researcher, thank you. And she says, somebody that smart and that intelligent, it's bizarre for him not to be up and about and checking his phone and at least a little bit more self-aware of his surroundings. I mean, geez, I like to think that if 3 of my friends are missing and the last place they were seen was at my house, I'd at least do a once-over.
Yeah.
They all deserve to have this fully checked out. Things are not adding up.
The mother of Ricky Johnson's child and the mother of David Harrington think there's a lot more to the story.
I don't believe anybody's innocent in this. My son was a grown man, and I love him dearly, and this is tearing me apart. I have to fight for him now.
Nothing makes sense. Nothing. I want justice. It's heartbreaking. My daughter keeps saying, I miss my dad. And it's just, my daughter would never see her father again.
And I can't imagine for the families just the level of devastation to look at a situation like that could so easily be prevented.
And to have no idea
right
what happened to, just the intense mystery around it would be painstaking. The way that the men were finally found is just as devastating as well. One of the fiancés of the men went over to Jordan's house and broke in through the back door. And it's there that she saw one of the men dead on the porch and called the police immediately.
You seem to know something about where these men were found that I haven't heard. What information do you have about specifically where they were in the backyard and how they were situated?
Well, I don't have firsthand knowledge, but I have heard because as being a brother, I'm looking at everything. I'm looking at everything anybody posts, whether it's, information I feel is useful or information I don't feel is useful. But information I did find.
Well, you also know who found them,
was
right? I mean, they were found by an extended family member. So you guys are in contact. So go ahead, tell the audience.
Yeah. So I believe David was found in a lawn chair on the back porch, rather than all 3 laying flat, which definitely paints a picture we did not have from the very beginning.
It wasn't until the police showed up to Jordan's house that Jordan knew anything was going on, that anything was amiss at all. they like pounded on his door. He, went and opened it, and that's what he learned. Your 3 friends are not only dead, but they've been found in your backyard.
Paserno says Willis never left his home once he got back there on Sunday. That's why he didn't notice the men's cars were still there. Paserno also claims that his client didn't hear anyone banging on the door over 2 days, nor did he hear McGeeney's fiancée break in and scream his name. But minutes later, he did hear police knock on the door.
The responsiveness of Jordan Willis, right? Because you had people banging on his door, nothing happened, and the part that bothers you is that something changed when police showed up, Linda. What changed?
I don't know what changed. I don't know why he would hear the police and not hear the people that had been there just prior. It's like he's acting. He's just trying to seem like I didn't hear anything before this, and now that the police are here, I suddenly hear everything that's going on.
So, what do you think? What is there any kind of, obviously it's all hypothesis and speculation. Is there anything, like any story that you can think of that would make this make sense?
I know, it's wild. And there doesn't appear from any of the investigations to be any kind of signs of struggle or wounds on the men or anything. So you have to chalk it up to some kind of freak substance thing. It would almost have to be.
And also, on what kind of substance, again, is going to make you sleep for 48 hours?
Right.
It's got to be something pretty gnarly. Right. And I've had bad hangovers. I know you've had bad hangovers.
Right, for sure.
For sure. There's no way that...
No.
So, I
know when I'm cold.
You know when you're cold. Also, I think a main part of, a hangover now for me at least is doom scrolling. You're lying over in your bed, half alive, just scrolling. If you're looking at your phone, there's no way that you're just going to be completely unaware, especially my friends.
Days.
How long is the longest hangover? Your longest hangover been?
Well, it's probably not relevant. I went 48 hours to be extreme. To sit in the cold for days, however long they were able to live through that, you never feel the impetus to get up or be aware that it's happening. And then you're sitting there with your friend. They're also going unconscious at different times, and they're not realizing it.
Like you said, I do think that drugs have to have been involved, especially if there's no foul play, if this Jordan Willis guy really is innocent.
Right. You're going to go unconscious before you die in that situation.
Yeah.
You're going to fall asleep.
Another possible angle we've heard thrown around a bit is the idea that this is a very tragic bet or gambling scenario gone wrong because they weren't wearing jackets. So maybe one of them had said something like, go finish a beer outside and something like that. And
some kind of freak accident.
Yeah. Still sounds suspicious to me, though, the fact that, if it's one of them, okay, I'm more likely to buy it. But all 3 of them just sounds very unlikely.
Right. You drink, possibly do drugs, those inhibitions.
That's true.
Doing things. Do things with friends and you're not thinking it through.
Alcohol is a killer, but also what alcohol makes you do or what you feel like you can do when you're intoxicated is, can be devastating. So in addition to the 3 deceased men and Jordan Willis, there was also a 5th man who attended this party. However, this man left before midnight. He said that when he left, everybody was watching Jeopardy together. Now, the thing that's interesting is Jordan Willis's attorney had said that initially he said when the 5th man left, who's unnamed, when the 5th man left, he said that they were all watching Jeopardy together. Jordan Willis got up, said goodbye to the 5th unnamed man. Said man left. He doesn't know what happened after. Now he's saying that Jordan Willis had actually gone to bed beforehand, never said goodbye.
His attorney also clearing up inconsistencies that they themselves had been releasing over the last couple of days.
The thing that I just really can't wrap my head around is him being unreachable for the whole family, the families of the deceased, for 48 hours. That it just seems impossible to me. Like in today's world where everybody is a click or a phone call away, if he was like out cold for 48 hours, I'd find that suspicious, but that's one thing. But the fact that he's supposedly working from home too, that's where the story just completely goes awry. I can see a story where a very tragic one, albeit, but one where, you know, this guy is working from home and all around his house, like, and doesn't realize that his friends are dead in the backyard. There's been days when I haven't stepped outside, especially if I'm hungover. But for him not to realize his friends are dead outside, plus being unreachable for 48 hours, something doesn't add up.
Doesn't add up at all.
What do you guys think? Why don't you leave a comment in the comment section below? I want to hear your craziest theories. I want you to speculate the heck out of this. What do you think happened? Do you think it's weird that the police department as well is not treating this as suspicious or a homicide, and have said over and over again blatantly this is not being treated as a homicide case? Do you think that's weird? Our thoughts are with the families of the deceased. I know at least one of them was a father.
Yeah.
So my heart goes out to his daughters.
I hope they get answers.
Absolutely. I hope they get answers as well.